Red Flag is a 2-week, large-scale aerial combat exercise, and it's one of the largest exercises in the world.
Make attack formation.
There's definitely an aura when you walk around here.
Victory Charlie 1, breaking left.
These pilots, these aircraft, these crews, they're the best of the best.
And so we're here at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada to take you behind the scenes of the world's greatest aerial combat exercise. So welcome to Red Flag!
To see the way that they execute as a team at the end of Red Flag is really thrilling.
It's already the best job in the world, as I would say, but it doesn't get much better than doing it out here.
I'm Colonel Eric Winterbottom, 414th Combat Training Squadron Commander, and welcome to Red Flag. For our newer crews, this is their first introduction to a large-scale air combat exercise. We asked the group, hey, how many of you are here for your first Red Flag? Well over half of the group raised their hands. We want to expose our youngest operators to their first 10 combat missions in the most combat replicative environment that we can present. We have 3 countries here, US, UK, and Australia. We've got about 120 aircraft, about 32 units, and about 2,700 people. Really, we're getting them used to a level of chaos that they're going to experience in combat so that it is not quite as shocking the first time they do it in a real combat environment.
The history of Red Flag dates back to the early 1970s, when after the Vietnam War, the performance of American fighter pilots was called into question. The ratio of enemy aircraft shot down to American aircraft that were lost was around 2 to 1, substantially lower than what Air Force leadership at the time deemed acceptable. A detailed analysis was conducted by the Air Force, and it was determined that if a pilot survived their first 10 combat missions, the probability of their survival for the rest of their career increased drastically. And so in 1975, Red Flag was born right here at Nellis Air Force Base to give pilots and crews the opportunity to fly 10 simulated combat missions and increase both their confidence and effectiveness. Oh, and one more thing. With the very first Red Flag being held back in 1975, that makes this year's exercise the 50th anniversary. That's a big deal around here, and if you ask some of the participants, I think they'd agree.
This is a humbling and great experience. I've been a part of Red Flags for about 10 years, off and on.
It means a lot to be a part of the 50th anniversary of Red Flag. This is my 5th time being here.
Working around all the different nations, different types of aircraft.
And it's awesome to be able to get to know all the people that I've gotten to know over the years.
It's already the best job in the world, as I would say, but it doesn't get much better than doing it out here in Nevada, right?
An overarching goal for us at Red Flag is for an aircrew member to come back from their first combat mission and say, that was intense, but it wasn't as intense as Red Flag.
Stand by, road, and
So the mass brief is really the culmination of the mission planning that happened the day before. We go through how are we going to go out and execute today to achieve the objectives of the mission that we have provided to the training audience.
Blue spins are change 1, current info pack is change 4, ops task link change 5.2, and red ops task links 5.3.
Right now, we are inside Boulay Auditorium, which, as you can see, there is a ton of history and heritage lining the walls, showcasing decades and decades of awards and accolades from the training that's been done here at Nellis. Now, this is also where Red Flag kicks off every single morning with all the pilots and crews and attendants to receive their morning brief.
The Defender will have 180 degrees of turn, at the end of which it will execute a terminate with a radio call and a wing rock.
When I get to see all of the nationalities there conducting a Red Flag at the highest levels that we can present, that to me is success.
From 35 to 40,000, and then one PIREP directly over Las Vegas, confirming mod turb at 39,000 feet.
Aggressors, we are briefing in room 133. Aggressors cleared off.
So that's it for us in there. We were able to watch for about the first 15 minutes, but then we got kicked out because things started to get into the classified nature. No hard feelings with all these videos that we do. I'm used to it by now. But at this point, we're actually gonna head to the squadron that I'm probably the most excited for. It's the one that Exercise Red Flag was really designed around. So get ready for the Aggressors.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Whit Collins. My call sign is Skate, and I'm an F-16 pilot assigned to the 706 Aggressor Squadron. The mission of the Aggressors is to simulate enemy forces, and we do that by replicating their aircraft and their tactics. Here at Red Flag, we have both the Red Forces and the Blue Forces. Red Forces is our Aggressor Squadrons, and we're simulating the bad guys. We're just the bad guys out there. The Blue Forces are anyone that could be a good guy. So that's Air Force, Navy, Marine, even international partners. We use F-16s to simulate other aircraft. And then we have the 65th, which flies F-35s to simulate some of the more advanced fighters out there.
Now, what the Aggressors won't tell you is that they're some of the best pilots in the Air Force, hand-selected to emulate the enemy. They're trained on specific tactics and techniques to expose the Blue Force to threats that they might face real world. And one of my favorite perks of the Aggressors is that they get to fly some of the coolest painted aircraft out there.
So besides the fact that they just look awesome, what's the reason for the unique paint scheme on the Aggressor jets?
So if you end up in a fight, we call it at the merge. So if you end up merging with someone and actually fighting within visual range, you need a way to visually depict who the bad guy is so you shoot the right person. So we paint our Aggressor jets in these different paint schemes, and that way you know who the bad guy is when you're just staring at another F-16.
Now, one of the cool things about the 706 Aggressor Squadron here at Nellis is that they're actually part of the Air Force Reserve. Now, if you haven't heard of the Reserve, it's a unique way that allows you to serve in the Air Force while also having a career in the civilian world as well. There's over 200 career fields you can choose from with a ton of great benefits such as low-cost insurance, the ability to work towards a good retirement package, and if you're interested in going to school, they offer tuition assistance that will help you earn your degree.
I think the biggest benefit of being a reservist is the flexibility. We also have full-time and part-time opportunities. So I have another job with a major airline. And so when I first started with the reserves, I was a part-timer where I was able to do both jobs. An opportunity presented itself that allowed me to come back full-time. So now I'm full-time military flying these beautiful aircraft that you see behind us.
If you or someone you know might be interested in applying or learning more about the Air Force Reserve, you can click the link down in the description below or visit airforce.com/reserve.
So we're back here in Boulay Auditorium because we were given special permission to sit in on an actual flight debrief. So these pilots and aircrew members just landed, and they're now here to discuss what went well, what didn't go well, and really just open those lines of communication so when they take back off here in a few hours, they'll have made those adjustments and can perform even better.
Hey everybody, Lieutenant Colonel Davenport, I was your MiG-1 today. Seemed like we had a good flight out there, clean admin, so we're just gonna jump right into the ROE. For our objectives today, we were gonna protect the motherland.
The debrief is vital because that is where the crews really learn the lessons.
Driver 2 clear for takeoff, 3 left. Flex west, push 6. Big 3 clear for takeoff, runway 3 left.
As you can see, our strikers and our fighters are able to kind of hold you off here in the north and the south. Looks like you guys are doing a great job defending that at this time.
All other players headed on range. You can depart Beatty for your scheduled and requested entry point.
Copy, Baron. Big 3 and 4, we're committing on the hostiles at this time.
When we hear the fight's on, it's really a cat and mouse game of them trying to shoot us trying to avoid being shot.
3, 2, 1, lights on. Charlie 1, break left. Big 1, check 6, landed through 6 o'clock.
And then we go into the debrief where we then validate all our shots and get to the truth data of what actually happened.
Stop 5028.
Pod 1, HP kill, kill call.
On Pod 1, I received a kill, play.
The old man's got some tricks. Dude, is that all they got? This is easy.
To see the way that they execute as a team at the end of Red Flag compared to how they're able to execute at the beginning is really thrilling.
4, take the left side. 3, Charlie 1, breaking left. Big 2 targeted my nose, 20 miles. Big 1, jumping first.
Pod 16, do you receive a kill?
Yes.
Pod 16, you're dead, play.
Make attack formation. I got you. Full press.
Altitude. Altitude.
At this time, y'all are dismissed. Carry on.
So you may have noticed that there's a lot of different aircraft out here on the ramp this week. In fact, there's over 100 aircraft from 3 different countries, totaling over 2,000 participants. For any aviation geek out there, this really is the ultimate playground. So I thought it'd be fun to take you on a little tour of some of the unique aircraft and participants here at this year's Red Flag. We've got the F-16, F-15, Growler, AWACS, LC-130, I'm just kidding, it's not that one. B-2 stealth bomber, HC-130, the E-7 Wedgetail, the mighty B-52.
This is the E-7 Wedgetail from the Royal Australian Air Force. Our main role is surveillance and control. So as you can see on the top of the aircraft, we have the top hat. This has 2 powerful side arrays that face left and right of the aircraft, and we can tell the radar to scan at different rates depending on where the threat is. We've got 10 mission crew down the back, often 2 pilots at the front, can have a 3rd in there. But we have 8 air battle managers and we have 2 ESM operators.
And you'll notice here, these are our canards, 4 planes. They're not canards. Canards move independently, these move together. One of the really unique features of Typhoon is, so obviously every aircraft has center lift, center of gravity, okay? And normally it's like trying to balance a pen by holding from the top. Typhoon is like trying to balance it from the bottom. She always wants to flip, that's why she's such a good dogfighter. And these move all the time to keep us flying straight and level. And here is a 27mm cannon taken from the old school Tornadoes. We weren't going to have a gun originally, and then we found out it was going to cost more to fill this with concrete than it was to fit the gun, so we got a gun. It's upside down though, which is hilarious, so the engineers hate it. It takes them forever to load it. My favorite thing about the Typhoon is that she's a fly-by-wire jet. Okay, so like if I want to go full backstick, unlike in a lot of other aircraft where you have to like pull and hold and oh god, it's stressful, you just slam that to the back and the jet will give you 9G if she has the speed.
So how's it stack up being out here, against Americans, other countries?
Well, it depends.
You knew the question was coming.
Yeah, it depends what you mean. If it's a long-range shooting war,
yeah,
we do okay. We do okay. If it's an up-close dogfighting war,
that's what it's made for.
We smash it.
Okay.
That's what she's for. That's what she's designed for.
There's so many people out there. This is the coolest plane that exists. What's it like to fly that thing?
So it's an awesome responsibility, the mission set we have. So on the conventional side, can carry up to 80 500-pound GBU-38s, precision-guided bombs, all the way up to a 30,000-pound GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator. So we work with the other package assets that are out here to mitigate and hold down those, whether it be ground or air enemy forces, to be able for us to fight in and fight out successfully. We have 2 seats in the aircraft that have pretty delineated duties. We're both pilots, can both fly the jet, but the way you work together as a crew to execute a really complicated and complex mission set is the coolest part for me.
Now, not only are the pilots under an incredible amount of pressure during these 2 grueling weeks at Red Flag, but arguably the maintenance team's under even more pressure. These aircraft, they're not doing easy flying out here. It's low levels, it's multiple sorties a day, and it's hard on these jets. And these guys right here are the ones working around the clock to make sure these jets are able to fly.
We do a little bit of everything, like tire changes, making sure all the maintenance is being done on it, and whatever we need to do to get her up in the air, making sure forms are clean, and any minor discrepancies that need to be fixed to keep her clean.
Working out here is really, I think, what people join the RAF for. Even just standing here waiting for stuff to happen, just watching all the different jets take off. It's such a cool environment to be around.
So yeah, they're long days, but they're also rewarding. We get to help train these pilots, and we have, basically the best Air Force in the world.
Okay, so what we've got planned next is something that when they told me I'd have the chance to do it, I was like, wait, hold up. What? Apparently, I'm gonna have the chance to head out deep into the desert of the Nevada Test and Training Range to simulate being a downed pilot. And if all goes well, I'm gonna be rescued by a team of Air Force PJs in an HH-60 Pavehawk.
My name is Staff Sergeant Sam Pineda, and I'm a United States Air Force SEER Specialist. SEER stands for Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. We essentially prepare warfighters in the chances of them becoming isolated so that they may be recovered successfully and return home with honor.
So we will take some of the Blue Air training audience and we will actually put them up on the range for several days and have them evade across the range against opposition forces, fight our way in to get that helicopter into that high threat location, pick up that survivor, and then get them back out without being shot down by the red threat.
We are way out here in the middle of nowhere, essentially miles from any sort of civilization, any road that we can see. I'm here with my wingman Mason, kind of simulating like we're an F-15 crew who had to punch out and now has to survive and evade and wait for rescue. So we're both kitted up here with our survival kit. This is what all pilots and crew members have to wear whenever they fly. So if they do have to punch out, it contains things like flares, smoke, radio, signal mirror, everything they would need to communicate to the search and rescue team to know where they are, how to get them safely.
The way that aircrew is prepared once they hit the ground in enemy territory is to start through the 5 phases of evasion: immediate actions, initial movement, hide sight, evasion movement, and last is recovery. First off, immediate action is going to be anything right off the bat having to do with health, maybe sanitizing uniforms, communication and transmission. Then we'll move into initial movement, which means essentially get off of where you landed. If you're in enemy territory, people might have seen you go down and you want to get away from that location and find a hide site, which is our third point. Hide site is really just finding concealment and cover from the environment as well as people who might be out looking for you in order to capture you. After that, we'll move into evasion movement, which would be more so methodical movement, slow pace, camouflaging your equipment and yourself, taking care of concealing tracks, and not being seen by enemy forces. And then finally, the last goal is to be recovered. And so we're searching for a recovery site where some type of recovery asset can come out to recover us and send us back home. What the aircrew member would be doing is pulling out their C-cell or combat survivor evader locator or whatever other form of signaling and communication device they have and communicating with some type of recovery asset. And they'll be walking you through steps such as authenticate with a certain letter of the day, number of the day, or a piece of identifiable and personal information so that they can verify who you are.
We're out here in the clear. Any second now, we should get the radio call from the inbound helicopter crew who's coming to rescue us. Here we go.
Harley 9-1, Harley 9-1, this is Ghost 6-3. How copy?
I got you, Lima Charlie, loud and clear.
Hey, now I need you to tell me what the second letter for the word of the day is.
Word of the day is hotel, second letter is Oscar.
Well, coming to get you 60 seconds out. I need you to ignite your secondary daytime signal.
It's a good copy. See you soon. Well, a massive thanks to the pilots, the crews, the maintainers, the players, the participants, everyone here at Nellis Air Force Base who allowed us to tell the story of the 50th anniversary of Exercise Red Flag. And as you can see, that right there is my ride. I hope you learned something new, and I'll catch you next time.